Welcome back to World History, where the past resurfaces sometimes from the darkest depths. Today, we begin our journey at nearly 4,000 meters below the ocean's surface, where a forgotten chapter of World War II has just been unearthed. What started as a routine deep-sea scan led to a shocking discovery: a massive underwater graveyard of lost World War II submarines that had vanished without a trace. As the lights from the exploration submarine pierced the endless blackness of the deep sea, the first shape emerged. A rusted silhouette loomed in the shadows. The floodlights revealed what had not been seen in over 80 years, a corroded Nazi U-boat, tilted sideways, partially buried in the sand, its steel hull devoured by time and salt, its once deadly exterior. Now a home to sea creatures and coral, but this was only the beginning. As the submersible moved forward, the crew froze in awe. Before them lay a sprawling graveyard, dozens of submarines silently resting in formation, an entire fleet lost to history. Divers descended into the eerie silence, their beams cutting through the murk to expose more wrecks. Some were American, some Japanese, some unidentifiable, twisted metal ghosts from a war-long past. One diver focused on a broken periscope jutting out from the sand, now crusted with barnacles and wrapped in seaweed. Another drifted toward a submarine's damaged launch bay, where World War II-era torpedoes still sat in their tubes, silent and undetonated. These weapons, meant for destruction, now lay dormant in a watery grave. A 3D sonar scan from the support vessel above rendered a haunting image: countless submarine silhouettes neatly aligned beneath a trench. As if frozen mid-mission, the alignment raised a chilling question. Was this an accidental mass sinking or something more? Inside one wreck, a marine drone captured something unbelievable: a submarine control panel with a strange symbol etched into the metal. Faded, barely legible, and unknown. Was it a code? A last message, or a marking left behind in desperation? Then came the most human moment of all. As a drone floated through the command room of one of the subs, it found a skeleton, still seated, strapped to a rusted chair, its uniform decayed but distinguishable. This man, once a crewman, died right where he worked, entombed with his ship, unburied, unnamed, and forgotten until now. Marine biologists and historians reviewing the footage in a nearby vessel were stunned. They analyzed the wreck's frame by frame, slowly piecing together clues. In one segment, they discovered the remains of a kitchen, plates still stacked, a mug frozen mid-tip, as if time had simply stopped. As the expedition pushed forward, the ocean revealed more than rusted steel. It began to whisper the long, silent secrets of war. Divers moved carefully through the murky water, kicking up clouds of silt that slowly drifted away, unveiling the side of a corroded hull. There, barely visible under layers of corrosion and time, was a nameplate, its faded letters barely legible but unmistakably real. This wasn't just any submarine. It had a name, a mission, a story. And now, after decades in silence, it was being read again. The camera panned out, revealing a cinematic underwater panorama. Over 10 submarines lay aligned in perfect rows, their positions deliberate, their spacing uncanny, almost like a hidden fleet waiting in the shadows. Some rested on their sides, others upright, but all bore the scars of conflict. This was no random debris field. It was a graveyard with purpose. One of the subs had its bow pointed upward, reaching toward the faint light filtering through thousands of feet of water. Floating particles danced in the light like dust in a forgotten attic. It was haunting, beautiful, tragic. Nearby, a diver clutched something, an object lodged between rocks and wreckage. As he turned it over, a World War II military insignia glinted through the rust and grime, a badge of honor, a memory made metal. This wasn't just wreckage. These were the final resting places of real people, men who had vanished beneath the waves with no one left to remember their names. Back aboard the research vessel, the team matched the newly discovered wreck coordinates to a classified World War II map overlay. The match was nearly perfect. Submarines believed lost in unrelated incidents or labeled missing in action had all met the same fate in the same unmarked stretch of ocean. And no one had ever known. The deeper the team ventured, the more surreal the discoveries became. In one submarine's control room, glass dials were cracked, levers rusted in place, and the walls seemed to groan with pressure. Seaweed crept through every opening, but the eerie part, everything remained intact, like the crew had only just left. Then the trench opened wider. The ocean floor dropped suddenly, revealing a previously hidden section, this time with the unmistakable shapes of Japanese submarines, different designs, different languages, same silence. Could these opposing vessels have all ended up here by accident? Or were they pulled into something bigger, something yet to be understood? In another sub, a torpedo bay was now home to glowing bioluminescent creatures weaving through seaweed-covered warheads. Nature had claimed the weapons of man, transforming death into light. From above, drone footage captured the full extent of the graveyard. It stretched farther than anyone had imagined, forming a formation too organized to be coincidence. These weren't scattered losses. They were buried secrets. Back at base, the team compared a crisp 1942 photo of a sleek, fully manned submarine to its modern-day wreck, bent, broken, forgotten. The contrast hit hard. This was more than history. It was discovery. It was remembrance. And it was just beginning to speak. As the final phase of the expedition began, the ocean seemed to speak louder than ever. Just beyond the shattered hatch of one sunken vessel, a lone World War II military helmet floated weightlessly, its emblem barely distinguishable, drifting as if still searching for the man who once wore it. Was it German? Allied? No one could tell for sure. But its presence, haunting and silent, told a story of duty, loss, and mystery inside the wreck. A diver's torch lit up a rusted corner of the command room, revealing something untouched by time. Sealed metal box marked boldly, Confidential -1944. The diver hovered silently, brushing off the silt with gloved hands. The lock had rusted shut, but the box itself was intact, preserved by the cold, crushing depths. Whatever was inside hadn't seen light since the war. Not far from that find, another team focused on the wreck's massive propeller, the blade once a powerful engine of war, was now cracked and lodged into a coral reef. Marine life had turned it into a sanctuary, hiding death behind beauty. Dramatic beams of sunlight pierced through the deep blue, highlighting the propeller's jagged edge, a silent reminder of how even the strongest machines can be stopped cold. Above the surface, in a state-of-the-art floating lab, recovered logs and documents from the sealed box were carefully laid out and dried. Names, mission codes, even maps marked with red lines and zones once thought irrelevant. Historians hovered around the table, whispering in awe. These were not just records. They were final testimonies of sailors long presumed lost, suddenly found in ink and steel. As the crew reviewed drone footage, a ghostly silhouette began to form in the background of one frame. A submarine, its features barely visible through thick water and drifting debris. It had not been previously marked. Another hidden wreck. Another soul of steel rising from the dark. It glided into view like a phantom, then vanished again into the shadows. Deeper inside one of the U-boats, a rust-covered corridor appeared on screen-twisted pipes dangling. Walls collapsed, the metal groaning with the weight of time. It was claustrophobic, suffocating, and eerily intact. In another shot, a rare Allied emblem could be seen faintly on the outer hull of a decaying vessel. Its colors long gone, but its identity barely clinging on. Back in the control room, silence fell. The research team watched the live feed as the drone hovered above the graveyard. Some team members were historians. Others were descendants of World War II naval veterans. Emotions ran high. No one spoke. Some eyes filled with tears. The dead were speaking, not through words, but through wreckage, rust, and reverence. Then came the final shot. The drone pulled back slowly, revealing the full stretch of the submarine graveyard. Dozens of vessels resting in eternal formation. Their outlines glowed faintly in the cold blue abyss, like a steel cemetery lit by fading stars, forgotten no more. The mystery, long buried, had risen, and with it a story the world would never again ignore.